part 9 to how I got bigger acted and unjustly by my drunk mother, and I've learned a lot from this situation. So now I'm going to get into the deeper parts of it. So my sister went to the psych ward for the first time because of me. So I was actually the first one to go to therapy in my family because my mom found my journal one day and I had been writing about wanting to unalive myself, and I was like 13 years old. So they took me to see a therapist, and I also got on medication at that time. And both of those things actually were life-saving for me. Both therapy and medication together were life-saving for me. And my sister still uses this method, and it's effective for her to this day. She's very much an advocate of talk therapy. I, however, am not. However, I've now realized that's because I wasn't really going to need therapy because I was going to get like different answers like later on, and that's why it never resonated with me. But for the majority of people, therapy does resonate. But therapy, again, is going to change because we all are just going to go in like these neural pathways and stuff like that. But they're very helpful at processing because it's this thing called, I think it's echolalia, where like something is like repeated back to you. And that's, again, like why it's so good to do videos like this of you sharing your traumas and sharing your experiences, because you get that feedback neurologically and it really helps you process your traumas. I can't tell you like how many times I rewatch my videos and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is actually helping me right now because I've actually forgotten that I have this mindset, or I've forgotten this, or, you know, it's good to be reminded about this kind of processing that I've done. And so I really highly encourage people to do this as a means of therapy too, like if nothing else, you know. I wish people would not give a shit and just like share shit and be a little more vulnerable and share like stories and stuff like that, because that's how people learn. Like you can talk about stuff all you want, you can like share like theories and all that stuff, but if you're not sharing personal experiences, like it's very difficult to learn from you because it's inauthentic, and that's like not what we're going into right now. You know what I'm saying? Because you're like sitting on this like high horse of vagueness. And I see that a lot in the spiritual community, of people being very vague about things. There's a lot of coaches, you know, things like that. And it's just very vague, not specific, and they don't use their life experiences. They want to teach you like almost like a book teacher, you know, where I feel like I'm more like a hands-on teacher. I'm like, no, this is like the shit I'm going through. So here, let me help you with just my story. And like that's the only way I relate to people. But I do think it's very helpful for not just yourself, but also other people. Because then again, people just don't feel alone. Because some people like literally go their whole lives thinking that they're the only ones who've experienced something like myself. And then they come on here, they share a story, and somebody's like, dude, I literally went through the same thing. I'm like, you have no idea neurologically, again, what that can do for you in a healing sense. And then people who don't agree with you or try to shit on you, then that's, again, a challenge for you to overcome and start training your brain to detach from anybody who comes up against the reality that you are trying to manifest and the one that you desire. That's part of this. That's how I view it. So I don't understand why people don't post videos. Because whether you get good comments or bad comments, there is something there that is for you. I think literally every single person on this planet should be doing this. And I really hope they do. I see a lot more people doing it now. It's very beautiful. And I see a lot of people do very safe. They'll start very safe, you know, and that's beautiful. Start very safe, because the other thing I want to say to people too is like, because the thing is I think people think they're not healed enough, so they don't want to share their stories with their not healed perspective right now, right? Because people like me or people who are healed actually come off very intimidating, because then people are like, oh, well, I'm not gonna like speak about my experience the way that like Lauren is speaking about it, so I don't really think I'm helping people. And it's like, no, guys, there are so many people at the same stage as you right now because we're grieving. So I'm actually at like, I'm very late stage grief. I'm very like 10 years grief. I'm already like, I already did like the whole thing that everybody has to go through. A lot of people that I see here are like 7 to 9 years. That's the stage of grief they're in, which is usually like anger. I see a lot of like liberal people obviously get very angry about things, and just a lot of anger because, but again, that's very healthy. But also we do have to like get out of that at some point. You know what I'm saying? And so what you do with that anger is you can't just have that. You have to start rewiring it into rationalizing why people are behaving the way they are, because anger serves a purpose, but it does not serve us forever. It can actually cause a lot of harm. And actually it was for me, and that's why I like released a lot of my anger. Again, I still have it come up. Obviously, I've shared how it came up a lot while I was in this situation. But then again, it got very neutralized once I saw the reaction of my mom and I saw that she felt guilty, and it immediately melted, because I was like, well, that's the purpose of me being angry, is that she doesn't care like about what she's done, or she's not going to change, but I already know the not changing part. So at least, you know, I could see that she cares. But of course she like came home and drank tonight. So, and I knew that was coming. You know, it's like crazy that she literally can get so drunk to the point where she like Baker acted me. You know, I told her, you know, like that she didn't leave me alone and that I tried to get away from her. I told her everything. And then she still comes home and drinks. And so that was another reason why I chose not to get angry at her, because I knew that it would just cause her to drink more. Because I'm not going to like invoke. But that's something that I've always had to deal with my mom, is that I've had to worry that I will cause her to drink more. When again, it's her responsibility to take this on, and that she drinks whatever amount she drinks, because she's the one who's not in control of things. But as somebody who's lived with her for so long, I don't want to do that, right? So it did actually feel so good to do that, though, like to actually come out of the situation compassionate for my mom instead of angry, because that's new for me. That's new, but it also was this dualistic thing where I realized I came here and I had this situation happen to kill the version of myself that idolized my mom, because I had to have a lot of limerence with people in my life, and I limeranced my mom and I made her more magical than she was, and I really overlooked a lot of the times that she threw me under the bus or didn't take accountability or hurt me too. You know, she didn't hurt me nearly as bad as my dad, but one of the mother wounds that I'm healing is that she hurt me pretty much just as much as my dad. I never felt that way all my life about my mom until I came here and I started to kind of see, you know, how deeply she actually impacted me and things like that. Like, I knew she hurt me and stuff, but again, not as bad as my dad. But now I just feel like they're kind of equal. Like, no, not really, but I don't know. I don't know. It just feels like the idealized version of her, version of me that held her in that regard has completely died now. And, you know, I'm just very accepting of the fact that I'm at a point with my parents where I pray that God gets me out of here, and then they're on their own. And if they want to watch my TikToks and they want to learn from me, they want to rewire their brain, they're more than happy to. And I really hope them a lot of healing, and I just don't want to be a part of their lives for a very long time. And that's the decision that I've made after this has happened. I don't owe them anything. I have carried their weight and their burdens all my life. Me and my sister have. And it is their time. It is their time to face what they put off onto us. And I'm going to try, of course, be compassionate when I speak. I'm going to try to be diplomatic and very dualistic when I speak about them and the situation. But I am manifesting that I have a public role someday. And so this is going to be really difficult for my parents, because they're going to have to face themselves in a way that a lot of other people who have to face themselves right now aren't. And it's going to be much more difficult for them, but that's what their soul signed up for. And there's nothing I can do except for depart myself from their energy and allow them to find their way back to God and let them feel the full pain now. And that, as an empath, is something that used to kill me. And that's why I did not leave people, because I could not leave them in their own shit. But now I've learned that you have to. You have to leave people in their own shit. Because if you don't, you are taking on their shit for them. And they don't deal with their shit. Going into the next part.